Hi, I'm Olga Elsiad, a sugar detox coach. I make quitting sugar easier. Today we're going to talk about how to avoid sugar while eating out. If you went through a sugar detox and don't know how to go about eating out in the restaurants and avoid sugar and carbohydrates, I have some tips for you here today. Part of the experience of eating in a restaurant is ordering a dessert. And it's like a built-in template in many of our brains that we eat our dinner and then we need to finish it with a dessert. I remember in the past I couldn't even imagine of eating out in a restaurant and then not ordering a dessert at the end. And this habit was one of the hardest to break, even after I went through sugar detox and was not eating sugar for months. Every time I was in a restaurant, I really had a big craving to order a dessert at the end of the meal. I know many of my clients, after they go through a sugar detox, they don't want to ruin all the results that they've gained by going through so many days without sugar and finally seeing the results, losing weight, feeling healthier in many ways. And you don't want to ruin it, but at the same time you don't want to be miserable in the restaurant, and sometimes you feel like you still gonna fall into the temptation. So here I collected many tips and tricks that I use myself and I recommend to my clients to use to avoid sugar while eating out. As a sugar detox coach, I advise my clients to avoid eating out as much as possible in the first 2 to 3 months of your detox, to not ruin the progress, and because the sugar cravings will come back if you start eating sugar again. And sometimes if you reintroduce sugar too soon, the cravings can come back even stronger than they were before you started your detox. You need to stay away from sugar for at least 4 to 6 weeks from starting your sugar detox for your cravings to fully subside. In my 90-day sugar detox program, I teach my clients how to remove sugar slowly without shocking your body and going through heavy withdrawal symptoms. You can learn more about my program and schedule a free session with me by clicking a link under the video. So first of all, you need to learn which foods you need to avoid as part of your sugar detox program before you venture out into the world. You need to understand that under the word sugar, we say all the high glycemic foods that will raise your blood sugar and feed the bad bacteria in the gut. These are, of course, sugars and all its names, but also all starchy foods, including white rice, white potato, all flour, all desserts. As part of my 90-day sugar detox program, I give my clients the lists of foods that they need to avoid so they can familiarize themselves with it and learn what they can eat and what they cannot eat. And also, if there is a question, you can always ask, if there is a food in doubt, you can ask about it in the group or in a private consultation. We also talk about different recipes that you can make at home using the ingredients that are safe for you to eat. So after about 4 to 6 weeks, it becomes easy to eat sugar-free at home. But it's a completely different game once you start eating outside of your kitchen, foods that you did not prepare. In this video, we're gonna talk about eating out in restaurants when you're gonna have to making choices from the menus that a chef cooked for you. So here is what I do, some tips and tricks to avoid sugar while eating out in a restaurant. Tip number 1, and very important, prepare yourself mentally for going out. So I usually give myself a little pep talk, something like this, that I have worked very hard at avoiding sugar and I really don't want to ruin my progress. That when I eat sugar and starches foods, I will get pimples, I will get digestive issues, I will get brain fog and even joint pain. And I have a lot of plans next week and I don't want to not feel good. I need to be prepared for that. So when I'm going to be eating in a restaurant today, I'm going to make healthy choices. I'm going to choose from the menu the foods that will keep my blood sugar stable, and I will be able to avoid the cravings for dessert later. And when people in my party are going to be ordering dessert, I give myself options what I can do, or I decide what I'm gonna do to distract myself from that situation. I can go to the bathroom, check my phone, eat my own sugar-free dessert. I will give you a list of options later in the video. So basically, I mentally rehearse the outing in my head, and I prepare my brain for what's to come so it doesn't sabotage me. Tip number 2. Tell people in your party that you are on a sugar-free journey and ask for their support. But I have to warn you that this may or may not work out for you. I've been in a situation when people would start talking me out of my diet, telling me that one small dessert is not going to hurt and things like that. And it's normal, people start feeling defensive and guilty when somebody makes the choice that they wish they would be making. Usually people who are the most addicted to sugar are the most aggressive to those who are quitting sugar. So it's okay. Do not ruin your relationship with them over your personal food choices. Be polite and pleasant with them and let it go, the topic. But at the same time, some people will be very supportive of you. Stick to them. Regardless of the situation, never try to shame other people for their food choices. You are going out with these people to pleasure, to spend time with each other. So stick to that and do not discuss your food choices or their food choices unless they are supportive of your choices. Tip number 3. Bring yourself a little sugar-free dessert to eat at the same time when everybody else is eating their desserts. Today's supermarkets have many choices of keto desserts. Be careful to not just go for a sugar-free version of a common food, because those foods are most likely to be filled with starches that will act like sugar in your body, so they will not work for you. You need to purchase a dessert that is marked keto, which means that it is low in all carbs. Usually the best ones are sweetened with erythritol, stevia, monk fruit. Also pay attention to the serving size and keep your portion under control. I also want to note that you should not make keto desserts part of your daily life while you're going through a sugar detox, because the sugar replacements in these desserts will bring your craving back, and they are bad for your gut flora. These desserts should be reserved strictly for special occasions. Most of the time, for myself, I bring 85% dark chocolate, or there are some good options with Lily's brand chocolate that are sugar-free. Sometimes I make a keto dessert. I really don't enjoy cooking so much, so it's not happening very often, but there are so many recipes online. You can literally just search for a word keto next to the name of your favorite dessert, and you will find some recipes. Just make sure you read the list of the ingredients and make sure that they are allowed ingredients for you. On my Instagram, you also can find some keto dessert recipes that I make up myself. Sometimes I get inspired and I will make a recipe with the ingredients that I know that are okay for me to eat, and I will whip up a recipe and put it into a post for you guys to enjoy. Tip number 4. You can also order yourself some fruit, a small portion of berries or fruit. Just be careful, make sure to ask the waiter that they don't add any sugar or syrup to that fruit. Stick to berries if you can, or low carb fruits, and also keep the portion small. Tip number 5. Sometimes this is what I do for myself. I use some sugar-free gum and I just chew on the gum just to give a little bit of sweetness to my mouth, and it does the trick for me. I keep some pure gum in my purse for these occasions, and it does trick my brain thinking that I'm eating something sweet, and it takes my mind away from the desserts. Tip number 6, which actually should have been tip number 1, because this is something you do before you go out to the restaurant. Don't go out to the restaurant hungry. I know it sounds funny and silly because we go to the restaurant to eat. But if you are trying to change your diet and your brain around food, you need to prepare for this and eat something before you go out to a restaurant. Otherwise, it's going to be too easy for you to fall into the temptation, and then you're going to be filled with regrets. Did you know that restaurants are designed to make us buy more food? And for that reason, restaurants serve carbohydrate-rich foods in the beginning of the meal, quite often for free. Do you know that they bring you bread or chips in the beginning of the meal as soon as you sit down, before you even paid for the meal? And you feel good and you start eating those chips or that bread with butter or olive oil, and you get that dopamine reaction, and you also get your blood sugar that goes up. This makes you order more food, but about an hour and a half into the meal, which is usually by the time when people are finishing their meal, your blood sugar will drop, and at that point you're going to be the most vulnerable to order a dessert and also to order more drinks, sometimes alcohol drinks or Coca-Cola and whatever you like. And this is the marketing technique that restaurants use to make you order more food and to make you buy those desserts and drinks. So when going out to a restaurant, your biggest challenge will be to avoid those free carbs that will potentially make you order more foods that you wish you never ate. So here is how you avoid it. But before we continue with the tips on how to avoid those free carbs, I ask you that you give me a like and subscribe to my channel if you would like more tips on how to avoid sugar. So number one, as we said before, you should not be starving when you go into a restaurant. So before you go out, have a little protein snack. Anything that can be a handful of nuts. It can be, I don't know, a cheese stick or anything that would make you not feel starving before you go into the restaurant. But two, sometimes I bring my own keto paleo bread and eat it in a restaurant when other people are eating bread or chips. I have recipes on my Instagram and other social media. You can ask me for a recipe. Where my paleo bread, it contains a lot of protein and it has a very low carb count, and that bread can be used for putting butter on it, dipping it into salsa or even olive oil. Tip number three, order salad and a protein appetizer as soon as you sit down. Even maybe before other people order, if you are starving, something with protein and also salad to cushion the carbs that you might end up eating later. Number four, if you're ordering salad, watch out for the dressings that you order. Ask the waiter for the ingredient list because there may be a lot of sugars and starches added to those dressings. I usually order oil and vinegar on the side. I know some people that bring their own dressing to the restaurant to be able to avoid sugar, starches, and this way they ensure that they have healthy fats with their salad. 5. Eating raw or slightly cooked vegetables right in the beginning of the meal will keep your blood sugar stable and will keep you satiated during the meal and will help you to be in control of your appetite. It will also prevent you from having that sugar crash at the end of the meal and help you avoid that dessert. In ordering your meal, avoid starchy carbs like pasta, potatoes, white rice. Order, if you are gonna choose to eat carbohydrates, order the ones that are lower in glycemic index, like and are higher in fiber at the same time, like for example brown rice, quinoa, sweet potatoes and things like that. Just to summarize, let's look at the menu, that what you would choose from the menu if you were eating out trying to avoid sugar and starchy foods. I'm going to be reading from the list. So you're ordering appetizer. You're going to order raw or cooked veggies, salad, cheese, seafood. Make sure there is no bread or breadcrumbs. Meat or eggs. Also ask about sugar or flour added. Entree or the main meal. So you can order any meat, seafood, eggs, cheese with veggies and salad or salad. Avoid starchy side dishes, bread and pasta. And also avoid sauces that contain sugar and flour. And when it comes to dessert, you're gonna try to avoid it as much as possible. You can bring your own keto dessert, homemade or store-bought. You can also use sugar-free gum or order a small portion of fruits without any syrups or sugar added to them. Remember, the longer you avoid sugar, the easier it gets. Your brain will catch up and it will be your second nature to think about going out to a restaurant and prepare your mind for it to avoid that dessert. Sugar cravings go away completely if you go through my 90-day sugar detox program. In our program, we work on rebalancing our gut flora to stop the sugar cravings. We work on the habits that surround the food. We change our diet. so it takes time for the brain to catch up with this. Usually the sugar cravings go away within 4 to 6 weeks for most people, and then we work on the habits, discussing what's the best case scenario for you at the given moment to avoid sugar and to stick to your diet. In the link below, I have a calendar link where you can schedule a free session with me where we can discuss your sugar problems and how you can stop them. I hope you find the tips in this video helpful, and I'm wishing you a successful and very pleasant trip to the restaurant where you're gonna be avoiding sugar for the first time. Are there any sugar-free eating out tips that I did not mention in this video? Please comment below. I would love to hear from you. Please follow my channel if you want more practical tips on how to go sugar-free. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!